Game 7, and these 4 gentlemen behind us, they have plenty of Game 7 experience. So what is going to be the difference maker in this
To
one?
me, it's going to be James Harden. He shows up and balls out the way he did Thursday night in Game 6. The Clippers are going to the next round. He doesn't, they're going home. This is a legacy game for James Harden. We've talked too many times about how prolific he is, how great he has been. He's former league MVP, scoring champion multiple times. The brother is special. But as special as he is, there have been too many times in moments like this in the postseason versus San Antonio, versus Golden State, versus Boston when he was in Philadelphia, where he got accused of not showing up and nobody disagreed with one another about that. He can't let that happen Saturday against the Denver Nuggets. This is his game to take. It's in his hands. He has to embrace it like that, remind everybody who the hell he is, and handle his business and close this deal. Otherwise, the Clippers are going home.
Malika, no surprise, we're looking at a Game 7. The tightest series, maybe the most compelling series of the first round. Aaron Gordon's alley-oop dunk, the milliseconds. It could come down to that. It could come down to that moment to decide the outcome of this game. Stephen A. makes a great point. As great as James Harden is as a player and will be a Hall of Famer, why doesn't he show up in these games? Because he's too good a player to not. Because we know what Jokic is going to do. I think we know what Murray's going to do. And Murray's a champion. Don't forget, there's some champions on Denver's side. Kawhi Leonard's a champion. I think I know what he's going to do. But I think what Stephen had said is the thing to watch. That's the big thing. The smaller thing is Nicholas Batum going into that starting lineup because he was very, very good in the game 6.
Oh, it wasn't a small thing. It was a huge thing. And that goes to Ty Lue and how great of a coach he is. Something we was asking J.J. Redick to do is make an adjustment, right?
Why do you have to throw Redick
Because
in
I wanted to. It's a learning, it's a teaching moment for him.
Okay.
And when I think about this series, I had it going 7, and I got the Clippers winning. 1, because I trust Kawhi Leonard Jordan, right, to be the closer. 2, I haven't seen a team and an individual like the Clippers and Zubac defend Jokic the way they defended him this series. And especially the one-on-one defense I saw Zubac display in Game 6. It's going to be a brawl for it all, but I got the Clippers closing it out.
Denver loses the second straight year. They lost on their home court in a Game 7.
The other thing to watch is going to be on the sidelines, right? Ty Lue heading into his 5th Game 7 here. He's won the previous 4, including against Bob's Golden State Warriors.
Welcome in CBS Sports HQ NBA analyst John Gonzalez. John, we talked pregame about this game, and I'm not sure that I saw it happening this way. Your reaction to an absolute blowout. Now, the score perhaps not indicative of the final score, but that was over in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was utter devastation, domination by the Nuggets. I didn't anticipate this. I thought that they would want to avenge last year when they blew that 20-point lead against the Wolves. But, man, the Clippers didn't put up much of a fight at all. I mean, you had all 5 players plus Russell Westbrook in double figures for the Nuggets, who just blew them out in the second half. I mean, the Clippers didn't even bother playing Kawhi and James Harden in that fourth quarter. And if you want to know, yeah, it was a 19-point game on the scorecard here, and maybe the box score makes it look like it was closer than it actually was. It was not. That was the Clippers' second unit actually showing some pride because the first unit didn't. And if you want to know how bad this blowout actually was and how much that the Nuggets absolutely throttled the Clippers, look no further than one Russell Westbrook, who in the fourth quarter threw down a dunk and decided to swing on the rim like he was a kid in a schoolyard, back and forth, knowing he was going to get a technical, knowing he's going to get fined, not caring at all, just basically dancing on the Clippers' grave. Yeah, that was a blowout.
He had 16 points off the bench for the Nuggets. If he was still playing for the Clippers, that would have been the second most points for the Clippers, because James Harden did not have the second most points for the Clippers behind Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was good. James Harden was not. Again, another no-show in a Game 7, in an elimination game for James Harden. 2 of 8 for 7 points. Yeah, he had 13 assists, but, John, we talked about this pregame as well. Another Houdini act for one James Harden.
Yeah, so he had 13 assists, 10 of those in the first half, and you could think, okay, well, maybe he's setting up the other guys and he's trying to get the Clippers going. You lose this game by 19. You could have lost this game by 40, frankly, if the Nuggets had kept in their starters. James Harden, you're setting up other players who are inferior to you offensively. In a game where the only person in the first unit who really showed out and showed up was Kawhi Leonard, they needed your offense. They did not need your playmaking as much as they needed you to be the second best scorer on this team, which you are, at least on paper. Unfortunately, this game isn't played on paper. It's played on the court. And once again, in a Game 7 where you need James Harden to be a superhero and an all-star and a former MVP, he vanished. Ask Sixers fans and the Sixers organization how that goes. Ask the Rockets, when he played for the Rockets, when he was an MVP, how that goes. It happened again for the Clippers. And I'd like to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. I mean, James Harden is a very good player, and he had an excellent season. In a year where Kawhi Leonard didn't get onto the team and play in the regular season until much later in the year because they were trying to bring him along slowly and make sure that he was healthy, James Harden was the one who ran that offense and generated points for them and made sure that he was distributing and getting everybody involved. Tonight, 13 assists gets you absolutely nowhere, and they're going home because of it.
Do you think the reason to hold Kawhi back was more of a necessity, or do you think it was more in trying to prepare for the postseason?
Yeah, was trying to prepare for the postseason, and at least by what we saw in this 7-game series, that part worked, right? That panned out. They had an idea. They had a theory of the case that let's not worry about Kawhi early in the year. Let's bring him along slowly. Let's bring him along towards the back end of the regular season, and then hopefully he'll be healthy for the playoffs. Well, that part worked out. He was excellent in the series. Kawhi Leonard was not the problem. The fact that he played all 7 games and was, frankly, probably the best player for either team throughout the series, that's a win for the Clippers. The problem was everything else. This is the oldest team, Akeem, in the NBA. James Harden, you needed more from him throughout. He was inconsistent. He had a good Game 6, but an awful Game 5 and an awful Game 7. Norm Powell, who had a glow-up year because Paul George left. He goes to the Sixers. Now the Clippers rightly decided not to pay Paul George, and they said, you know what? New Paul George is Norm Powell. Congratulations, Norm. He had a good season. Guess what? Not that great of a series here. Yeah, look, the Clippers, not a lot of people had expectations for this team. I personally didn't. I had them outside of the playoffs looking in. Well, they proved me wrong. They were the 5 seed, and they took the Nuggets to Game 7 and gave them everything they could through the first 6 games, but it was that last game where nobody showed up but Kawhi Leonard.
What will be the excuse then? What do you think Clippers fans will say? What do you think the players will say will be the excuse? Because we heard LeBron say, well, we didn't have time to gel enough. We didn't have a center. We had all these excuses. I mean, excuses are for losers. That's just what it is, right? You can make statements for sure, but if you're James Harden, if you're that organization, what's the excuse this time? Another first-round exit.
I don't know that there is an excuse beyond that the Nuggets were ultimately better through 7 games. I mean, your top-line talent for the Nuggets showed up in Game 7. You had all 5 players plus Russ in double figures. It was such a runaway victory for them that they basically got to rest Nikola Jokic for the next round in this game. He came in towards the end of the 4th quarter, but he only played 32 minutes. He had 16, 10, and 8. That's a regular season, like, I don't know, late November, early December line for Joe.